Orcas are some of the most emotionally intelligent animals, yet so often people only know of them as the creatures that SeaWorld exploits for money. People should call for the boycott of SeaWorld and its affiliates. Since most of us care deeply about the lives of animals, we should strive to eliminate cruelty and capturing wild animals. All sources used in this speech were from well-known credible sites. I'm going to go over the suffering of the captive orcas and why we should strive for their freedom. Let's talk about why these whales are not thriving at SeaWorld. It's unnatural for whales this size to be kept in captivity. Killer whales travel thousands of miles in their lifetime when in their wild natural habitat. Melissa Hagenboom of BBC writes, one team tagged a group of orcas and discovered that they frequently travel all the way from the Antarctic Peninsula to Brazil and back again. At one point they traveled nonstop for 42 days and covered over 5,000 miles. That big animals need habitats to match is obvious. SeaWorld does not and cannot provide the necessary facilities for these animals to thrive while in captivity. It seems SeaWorld doesn't care about this, however. They have not made effective attempts to give these animals the space they need, even though they are willing to take it away from the orcas when they capture them. Killer whales only kill people when in captivity. Whalefacts.org says that the only documented orca attacks that have resulted in the fatalities have involved captive orcas at marine parks. These attacks are almost certainly not indicative of the behavior of orcas in the wild. Buildup of stress and frustration of the lack of space causes these whales to attack their trainers from time to time. This loss of life is completely avoidable by not having captive orcas in the first place. These animals fight each other because of the limited space. An article on orcas on thedodo.com says, eventually 2 whales disappeared beneath the surface according to Miller, and continued thrashing about when they surfaced, she said. Sakari's chin was dripping with blood. These types of problems cannot be hidden from the public eye, as proven by the account from the witness's testimony. The huge problem of little space for these animals is of little concern to SeaWorld because of the money they make off these whales. SeaWorld makes millions off these animals. The sperm from the whale Tilikum is worth millions of dollars, and SeaWorld sells it globally. Jennifer Welsh, BusinessInsider.com writer, says, his semen is worth a lot of money. It's brilliant because they can inseminate way more females they can get his sperm and freeze it. Then he's basically operating like a sperm banker. This whale has killed 3 people, yet they continue to breed him and use his sperm. It is well known that this is not a good idea to breed an animal that has aggressive tendencies. Brian Howard of Nat Geo writes, Tilikum pulled SeaWorld trainer Dawn Branshaw into the pool and killed her. This tragic event made world news, but few people realize that the orca had already been involved in 2 previous deaths. If SeaWorld did not prioritize money above all else, this whale would have been sent off away from people long ago. The orca shows at SeaWorld attract thousands to the park yearly. The orcas are probably the biggest animal attraction at SeaWorld parks and are even featured in their symbols. In a survey of my classmates, everyone who had been to SeaWorld had also seen at least one of the orca shows. We know that SeaWorld keeps these whales for the money, but is the money worth the emotional torture these animals are forced to deal with? Being in captivity is detrimental for these animals that were captured because they are ripped away from their family pod. These highly emotional animals typically live with their families for their entire life in a group or a pod in the wild. The whales that are born in captivity are kept separate from their families most of the time and still have to deal with some sort of separation problem, even in captivity. Lars Crawford writes in his article on graymatterjournal.com website, the species of topic today is one who has demonstrated many human-like qualities, including intelligence, language, and an exquisite sense of emotional capability. The orca, the killer whale. Clearly, these animals exhibit extreme emotional awareness and intelligence, making their separation from their family all the more torturous. Many of the whales in captivity are known to experience depressed-like behavior because of their separation from their pod. This behavior leads to a plethora of health problems, costing SeaWorld millions of dollars. Geek.com's Daniel Starkey writes, first whales will chew on concrete and steal features of their tanks. Former SeaWorld trainer and co-author of the new study told Gizmodo, this is neurotic behavior, stereotypy, done out of boredom and perhaps to relieve anxiety. The remaining family that I have left in the wild is left screeching for their missing the counterpart. These issues can only be fixed by releasing the whales into huge enclosures or bodies of water and by not capturing any more of them. In the If all the currently captured whales are moved to areas large enough for them to live their lives happily, SeaWorld would be doing something positive for these animals. SeaWorld should pay for such enclosures to be built because of all the hardship these animals have already been through because of them. Most importantly, SeaWorld must stop capturing these animals globally. Russia and China are involved in capturing these animals, but SeaWorld has a hand in these examples and instigates further captures. If these animals are no longer captured, then the problems they're having will not exist. The idea of not capturing these animals is best understood by visualization. Imagine going to SeaWorld and seeing that they do not have the orca shows or any orcas anymore. The lives of so many of these animals could be helped and changed. It would be a comfort to all other animal lovers to know that all orcas live free living in the northern waters of the world. On the flip side, if we continue to allow the orcas to be captured and bred by SeaWorld and its affiliates, these animals will continue to be used for the financial gain and suffer. Too many orcas have died in captivity. In conclusion, we have discussed the clear evidence of why orcas are suffering in captivity and why SeaWorld keeps capturing them globally. People must boycott all SeaWorld parks and write to governing officials to change the laws on these animals being kept out of the wild. This is the only way to save these animals' lives and the many more that may be captured. Everyone should care about the lives of some of the most beautiful and intelligent animals. We all can help save these whales.